Hi, I'm Iza Calzado. I'm a mother, a wife, an actress, host, and co-founder of SheTalks Asia. And I suffered from body dysmorphia, and I lost my mom to suicide when I was 19.
You've been open about your journey with body dysmorphia. Could you please tell us about that, and when did you first become aware of the war you were quietly fighting within yourself?
Actually, calling it body dysmorphia is even quite new to me because we didn't even have a name to it. The closest was probably I had body issues. Maybe I realized at some point I had anorexia, maybe, which started when I was 15, 16, when coming from being over 220 plus pounds. I don't know how heavy I got because it's not like I weighed myself every day or monthly at that time. So from grade 2 onwards, I just kept getting bigger by the day, month, years, until I really tipped the scale. I just know the number 220 because I broke my foot and I remember stepping on the scale and I was like, oh gosh, bigat ko na pala. Parang mga third year high school ako noon. So the summer before fourth year high school, I got chicken pox. I know this sounds like, where is this going? I got chicken pox, and then I didn't eat much because I was sick. And then after 2 weeks of people not seeing me, sabi nila, oh my gosh, pumayat ka. And then I realized, wow, if I don't eat as much, I'm gonna get thinner. And syempre, I was gonna step into fourth year high school. I said, I want to graduate looking better. We had the grad pick coming up. So the first goal was grad pick. I want to look better. Eh, ang dami ko pang spots kasi chicken pox nga, di ba? Tapos, kumbaga dati yung, at least man lang yung mukha ko, walang anything. Ito ngayon, parang ang dami. So sabi ko, at least man lang pumayat ako. What started as just 3 sandwiches of the thing that before was whole wheat. Di ba? Whole wheat was the health thing. And then tuna sandwich. 3 sandwiches a day. And then I quit soft drinks because that was my water before. Parang those were the changes that I made. Became 2 sandwiches, became 1. Became 3 packs of crackers till it became 1 per day. So parang this was fourth year high school. Actually, our paths met around that time. As you were a cheerleader, a dancer, I was part of the boosters. We were competitors for J&J at cheer dancing. And that was the time. And I lost so much weight. But you know, it was so unhealthy. I just starved myself. I didn't work out. Even when a friend told me na, bakit hindi ka mag-workout? You know, just eat properly. And siyempre, tigas ulo ko eh. Kasi you can see results, right? Yeah. Kasi pumapayat ka talaga drastically. Sabi ko, bakit pa? Sabi niya, you know, you might want to wear sleeveless one day. Your skin's going to sag. Sabi ko, bakit pa? Hindi naman ako mag-aartista. Cut too. So anyway, that was the journey. And then, you know, the awareness wasn't there then. I was weighing myself in the school clinic every day. And I think now, I'm sure that would be a red flag, right? Any student that weighs themselves every day is problematic. Like, why are you weighing yourself? Every year, papuntang recess, kasi hindi ako kumakain. And then on weekends, I binge and then throw it up. So there was mild bulimia. And then, it was just on and off. Till I would take diet pills. I took everything I could take to lose weight. And then I'd gain it back. And it was just unhealthy. And then I got into aerobics. Wow. Very Jane Fonda of me. No, in 2001, because I landed a commercial, which was to be shot 2002. So I started with that, started exercising more. But it still wasn't healthy. It was a lot of binge starve. Actually, for the most part, I think I started really having a very balanced lifestyle talaga in 2020 lang. Before that, it got healthier by the years. But looking back now, I would look at my photos ng bagong artista ko, wherein I thought I was so fat, I was so big, and I was like, gosh, hindi naman pala. You know, kaya siya, gosh, body dysmorphia siguro yun. Kasi I never saw myself as I was. It was always, I was bigger, I was uglier. Yung parang it just, not how I see myself in the photos. Unedited yung mga fun photos lang, real life photos. Sabi ko, grabe, so harsh on myself. But I realized that more. And I really understood that it was a mental health problem. That it wasn't just body issues na physical, that it was deeper than that. When I became part of the Body Love Revolution movement of SheTalks Asia, actually it was something that I spearheaded because of my insecurities. And I wanted to, I guess in my search for answers and meaning and understanding, I wanted to actually take it to schools and do talks in schools. And then from that, he said, it was harder to pitch to brands and how do we take it to school? So we just did it as part of the SheTalks Asia summit, and we did a conference called the Body Love Conference specifically for that. And so that's when that's when the full awareness of what it actually was, like all these years of the insecurities. Syempre, pumasok pa ako ng showbiz. It really magnified everything. Alam mo yung okay na ako nung college. Pero pagpasok ko ng showbiz, ito na. And it's like a lot of things will validate narratives in your head. And it's really just holding these thoughts captive and then taking control of these narratives that I found to be effective, like tools too. Kasi it's not like as we speak, I'm gonna tell you that I have totally erased it. Yeah, that's not true. But yeah, so that's how it really started.
Of course, many people see celebrities as confident and flawless. What
Thanks to
was it?
Bello. Wow.
What was it like carrying that expectation while struggling with your own self-image nung pumasok ka na sa showbiz?
Saktong-sakto, di ba? Segue natin dito. It's not even hearing, it's seeing. I still remember na yung stretch marks ko, dati kasi tatakpan ko lang, okay naman ako, normal ako. I was just happy to have lost the weight.
Yeah.
Okay na ako dun Parang syempre, I rarely nga would go to VTRs kasi parang the rejection would make me feel so bad. So parang when I landed the Pantene commercial, it was just my third VTR. Then pumasok ka ng showbiz. And plus, ang papayat ng mga tao, ang gaganda, ang kikinis. Nobody had a body like mine. So it's not even just hearing. It was the voice in my head. Hearing the voice in my head, which was the loudest voice, telling myself na ang pangit, it's ugly, or you're not thin enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're fat, yung mga ganyan. And then seeing that everybody's so makinis, payat, and just like feeling inferior. Even if you're the lead of a show, it doesn't matter. You're on the cover of the magazine. Yeah, but I always wanted my photos to be photoshopped. So, a lot of it was really my insecurities. I remember, nung bago ako, kasi yung first lead ko sa Te Amo, Maging Sino Ka Man, ang producer ko si Miss Regine Alba, yung name niya. Sabi niya sa akin, Isadora, if you don't pay attention to it, people won't pay attention to your perceived imperfections. And I could not understand her. Na parang, no, but it's there. People are staring. People are gonna see. Ganyan. And it's only now that I understand, actually, when you're okay with it, people won't mind it. Because the first person that has to be okay with these insecurities is you. And if you're not okay with it, kahit isang puna lang, isang tingin lang ng tao dyan, ang laki agad ng perceived issue in your head. But even if people say negative things, actually, if your self-worth is very strong, your foundation is strong, nobody can say anything. So even if you hear anything, deadma ka. But because I was a very insecure kid, because of, not very loving and supportive environment, or, just a tough childhood, and being obese as a teenager in your formative years, and then entering show business, all the combination of that, I was just so insecure. So nobody even had to say anything. I just constantly wanted to be validated for being thin, beautiful. It was like if I didn't hear na, halimbawa nag-photo shoot, pag hindi sinabi sa akin na, oh my gosh, pumayat ka, ang payat mo, ibig sabihin na sa akin nun, mataba ako. It's like, that's why, to me, I try not to say anything about anybody's body. Whether pumayat siya or ganyan, I try, because we glorify being thin so much. It's so celebrated in this industry that we associate our self-worth on the size. Kasi you hear it all the time, oh my God, pumayat ka na. Ito, nung naging nanay ako, parang after, oh my God, congrats, pumayat ka na ulit. Sabi ko, wow! Hindi nag-congrats, nagka-baby. Although, ang dami naman nag-congratulate na nagka-baby ako. Pero iba yung grabe yung celebration na you're back to how you used to look like. And I'm like, wow! Like, I know I worked on it, but that's already my lifestyle. But what about if I didn't get back to this form? Am I a failure? Parang we glorify these things so much. So I try not to be part of that. However, I do still fall victim to it sometimes, that yung pag may shoot, gusto mong, pag naririnig mo, pumapalakpak pa rin yung tenga mo. And then I try to tell myself, don't hang on to it, let it go. Talagang ginaganon ko yung sarili ko. Kasi with awareness na na, kung i-attach, okay lang. Feel it a bit, okay. But it's not who you are. Diba? It's hard. Girl, we just had the ABS-CBN ball. And for the first time, actually hindi, yung last din, hindi pala first time. After ko manganak, kahit yung last ball, kapapanganak ko pa lang, ang saya na, hindi na ako nagda-diet. On the road to, alam mo dati, 2 weeks before, naka-South Beach diet. Yung, alala mo yan, hindi kumakain. But the minute the event is there, you're already eating 2 slices of cake. It was so awful. Like the highs and the lows of it. And my biggest wake-up call really happened when I got COVID. And knowing that it was the constant pounding dun sa immune system ko of dieting, of course, the sleepless nights from show business, the stress, and the working out, even when I'm, alam mo yun, not recovered fully, I'm stressed, and just all that made me very susceptible to the COVID virus, and I got it badly because of that. Sabi ko, it really changed the way I ate, my relationship with food. So, sometimes it really takes a big awakening. A rude awakening, di ba? Sabi nga nila, talagang yung minsan, ipapaluhurin ka talaga ng Panginoon bago mo maintindihan lalo. And to think, nandun na ako nun sa body love journey, kasi 2022 eh. Pero kasi yung 2017 ako nag-start doon sa body love 2018 yung conference. And mas naiintindihan ko siya noon. Pero nagjujuicing pa rin ako. Yung mga, in the guise of, this is healthy. But really, it wasn't. It was messing up more with my hormones. And I found myself that apparently, I had the body of a menopausal woman because I had blood work done before I got COVID. So parang the numbers were showing that that's why my immune system was down. I had the body of a menopausal woman. At 38 ba yun? O 37 ako nun. So, parang na-realize ko. And then, of course, with medicine, with my hormones properly addressed, mas ano lang. Tas ang sabi ko lagi, ngayon, my take on food is, my relationship, it's about having just a healthy relationship with food. Food is there, and I enjoy it. We love to eat. I love to eat. I mean, I was once obese. You think I love to eat? I will never not love to eat. Pero, I now think na, okay, if there's an event, if I'm not going to have this, it's not deprivation. It's just, I'm choosing not to have this now, I'll have it again later. It's fine. So that when I have it again, hindi ako, or just before I go on a moderate, hindi siya deprivation, parang just balance, like, I just take this out for the meantime. It's fine. If I'm not gonna have this, it's not a loss. So dati kasi bago mangyari yung deprivation, dami mong kakainin nun. Tapos magde-deprive ka. And then, once you're out, kakain ka ulit ng marami. So now I don't have that. So now, if I want a bit of cake, okay, I'm gonna have it. But kung hindi talaga pwede, because there's really something, it's okay also. Hindi siya kawalan. And buti nang, I think it's a habit that I've built through the years, which is also brought upon by all of this. So I just was able to instill healthier habits and choices along the way. And I can't not eat, unlike before. So now I have to eat because you have to nourish the body. And yeah, that's the good thing that came out of this. I know this has nothing to do anymore with like your question, but I just realized dun lang siya napunta. So I know your question was like, what was it like? I think it's how people are, even beyond show business, but it's really more intense in our field. Again, if you're very insecure, you don't know who you are, and you were not filled with as much love in your home, because I really believe it starts at home. When you were younger and you haven't spent enough time filling your own cup, you can easily be destroyed by an industry like this. But even going beyond that, our industry before is now everywhere because of social media. Everybody now experiences the public scrutiny that only a few of us went through back in the day. Ngayon, everybody is a celeb in some ways. Basta may social media ka, hindi ka naka-private, celeb ka. Pwede kang tignan ng tao, diba? They can pick you apart. They can judge you. They can say things about you, your physical self, like everything about you. That was reserved to the chosen few before. Yeah. But now, all these young girls wanting the likes, the comments, or, showing yourself in a bikini, seeking validation with a number of comments and whatever. It's all that. So, ang hirap niya lalo ngayon. Yun yung ibig kong sabihin. For everybody na not just artistas, but still more for artistas.
I concur.
I second that.
Yes. You've spoken about losing your mother to suicide, something no one should ever go through.
Ever.
How did that loss shape your understanding of mental health and healing?
Good. In our household, there was always a discussion on mental health. Even from when I was small, a child, who really could not fully grasp what it was. I had to deal with it because of what my mother was going through. So from day one, I always knew that she had a condition, a problem, that she was going to the doctor, that she was taking medication, that she would have times when she would be unwell. And that there were a lot of times that she was great. And that sometimes she loved me and sometimes she didn't. And that she was trying to make me understand it, but she couldn't really articulate it well. And having a mother like her, it was hard to love someone like her. But syempre ngayon, hindsight is always a privilege, and it's always 2020. I was too young, didn't understand fully what she was going through. I couldn't support her naman. But she was always trying to reach out for help. But there was nothing like this. Mm-hmm. There were no discussions. And I was going through my own thing. And I mean, there's a reason why I was obese, right? I turned to food. As a matter of fact, I mean, I haven't really shared this, but I was stealing things at certain points in my childhood. And I'm sure that was because of loneliness and seeking for love and attention. Addressed naman siya. Wala na po akong ninanakaw ngayon. Matagal na po akong tumigil doon. But, you know, I was going through my own things. Actually, I was diagnosed with childhood depression yata. I was grade 6. Or some level of depression, I forget. Because my mom would take me to the therapist. It's a whole nother story. And because I was unwell because of the environment. You know, so I understood it, but I didn't really understand it. And that's actually the root cause of the insecurity, of everything that I've been battling with, the seeking for attention, which serves me as an actress, right? I mean, everything has its pros and cons, but, you know, parang when I think about it, kasi, you know, pati my weaknesses in life, they're, apart from the insecurities nga, they're all rooted on this lack of love, I think, from the formative years. That I now understand, Kasi they say that between 1 to 7 years old is very crucial in the developmental stage of the child. And that's, I think I was around 5, 6, that's when it started to go bad at home. And gets ko siya yung mga subconscious choices ko in life that really put me in places that I totally would not put myself in if I were in a very conscious state of mind. Even just my temper, you know, I mean, I'm human. I understand, like now, oh my gosh, I always knew. And actually, I'll share with you na, I think I may have told you this before na my biggest fear before, that's why I didn't want to have a child, was that I might do the things that my mother did to me, or I might become like my mother if I were to have a child. And God is so good that He intervened and gave me a child to prove to me, and so that I could prove to myself now that I have the power to rewrite that narrative in my head. But that, so far so good. I went, Lord, please, every day, diba, is a challenge. Every day we conquer things as well. So, ang galing din na binigay sa akin ng anak ko at this point in my life. Nakakapagod man because I was 40 when I gave birth, and it's really, diba, we're having this discussion. It's harder because you're not as young as you used to be. The recovery period of the puyat, the ganito, even if you have help, because you want to be there for your child. But because I have now this awareness on mental health, on my own hormones and mood swings and temperament, I'm able to kind of control it a little more, but not always, you know. Because I had this one meltdown in front of Dea. She was a baby. And then I realized like, oh my God, I'm like my mother. And then this was like, wala pang 1 year into it. So definitely postpartum blues, like a dip in the hormones, which is so normal. Hello! Your body is experiencing the biggest dip a human body can have in terms of hormonal imbalance. So it is normal to have feelings that are huge and large. It's okay. And if you don't, then good. Sana all. Di ba? Kasi may iba na sabihin, I didn't experience that. Di ikaw na. Pero yung sa amin, kami, na yung buti na lang sanay na tayo dito. Buti na lang nagde-teleserye ako. Buti na lang lumaki ako sa isang teleserye. Because I can just imagine if you're not used to it, it can be like really a lot. So anyway, so I was having that day. And I was really feeling everything. Okay, that's it. Oh God. And then I just realized, man, my mother was going through this so much. And my mother lost a child. And that's when things really got bad. So now that I think about it, that was postpartum depression. And she lost a baby. Her best friend was killed. Parang it was like all at the same time. And I said, grabe. Like, I want to be, how I wish I could be there for my mother in me now, and be her friend. Yeah. To be that friend for her. But hindi, that's life, right? But I know I can be that friend to myself, to others, and to my daughter. Now, so, and the loss, how did it shape me? Well, when we talk about wake-up calls, I always say, what I've learned in life is there are two big wake-up calls always. When you are given life or a life is taken from you. I don't know about you, but when you were, nung nabuntis ka, let's say, it was a moment ng, I'm sure yung, diba, yung mapapa, nang out of nowhere, diba? Yung suddenly. Ako din, yung parang, when I was given Dea, it was a wake-up call also to me. I wasn't exactly in the best headspace at that time. But what a great wake-up call. And when it comes to my mother naman, her loss was a wake-up call to me. Because my gosh, Iza at 19 was such a lost child. I was a rebellious teen. As in talagang I was on that train that was a train wreck. Yung papunta na talaga siya to saan papunta ang path ng batang ito. I didn't do well in school. Again, I was a party girl. I excelled in that. And then I was just so lost. There was no vision. There was no goal. Parang I didn't know. I wanted to make ads. Yun eh. I took up advertising. Nagkamali ako. Parang I was so lost. I didn't do well. I was trying to move to com arts, but they wouldn't allow me. I was like, talagang floating. Wala. And then my mom died. Boom. Holy smokes. Wow. Grabe yun, me. Kasi di namin inakala that it would actually happen. And that's actually something, because it wasn't the first time. And because it wasn't the first time and it had been happening since I was a kid, we became relaxed. We thought, lilipas din yan. We've been here before. Not that we weren't taking it so seriously, because there were signs it was quite another level already. I won't get into detail.
Yeah, of course.
But when it happened, happened, I just knew I had to get my act together. I didn't know how. But I remember like, God, I knew I could continue down this path where the path I was on, no? Which was a lot of just escapism. And just stay there and get darker and darker and darker. And then there seemed to be this path that was new. I was not religious at all. May ano pa nun pelikula, yung Stigmata. Ewan ko naalala mo.
Alam ko yun.
Di ba? So parang nagka-question pa ako nun. May Diyos ba talaga? May ganun. Nung nawala yung nanay ko, napasimba ako. Hindi ko alam saan ako pupunta eh. Sakto, parang for school, I had to clock in hours in church. Parang for theology class yata. So I had to turn to church. And ironically, the church didn't allow my mother's body to be blessed in church. And I had every reason to hate the church. But there was also a priest who was so kind. And there were several who gave mass for my mom, who also lost his brother to suicide. So I felt there was like something. And then our parish priest just gave such good sermons. And parang every Sunday, parang bang he was speaking to me. Yung ganon. So parang there was this new path. And parang kailangan kong kumapit somewhere eh. And then kumapit lang ako. And alam mo, galing kasi ni Lord, 3 days after my mother was buried, I got this message for a Pantene commercial. So parang in a place that was so dark, there was this glimmer of light. And kinapitan ko lang talaga siya. And not to say na tuwid agad yung naging landas ko. Till this day, medyo hirap pa rin ako. Tinutuwid ko pa rin. Ayos-ayos naman ah. Lalo na nung may day na. Pero, ang laki nung shift. Nang finally, eto, tumuwid ka. Dati walang ganun eh. Wala eh. Ito kasi, I need to do everything that I can to make sure this doesn't happen to me. It's the best way I can honor my mother. Is to have the life that she deserved. To live the life that she was worthy of. Okay. It's just feelings.
You want tissue?
Okay lang. Tissue lang, sige. It's okay. It's the way I got through all of this is crying. Is to just let it out. But, yeah. I think I'm so driven. I wasn't this beast. I wasn't this animal. I didn't have ambition. I didn't have direction. I didn't have purpose. Whatever that means. Diba? Yung parang no matter how big or small, day in and day out. But I think that really started to happen because I needed. And the first purpose was to have a better life, to make money, kasi we needed money. I needed to step up, to be well. And parang in and day out, nag-iiba naman siya eh. And I say honor. This is the way I honor my mother. Because I know that this is the life she wanted, not just for herself, but definitely for me.
And you've done well.
Thank you. Oh, it's not easy. Because like my mother, I also grapple with my own shadows, with my weaknesses and my things, my humanity. But lagi ako nakakapit dun sa liwanag, sa lilim. Cliche as it may sound, pero lagi, even when I fall, I mess up, I really try to find the strength in me to pick myself and piece myself back together, because I need to. Before it was just for my mother, now it's because I have a daughter. So I try, I do my best. And I think we all do. And it's a lot. It still shapes me. I say it doesn't define who you are, but it somehow shapes the narrative of your story. And again, it's still your story. I have to remind myself. My mother, that was her story, that was her outcome. And I'll be honest that sometimes I say, hey, it's not gonna end that way for you. Hey? It's not gonna end that way for you. But you have to. Because I'd be lying if I tell you that I haven't had certain thoughts. Even if it's just in passing, not like my mother who had it seasonally. Wow, nakakapagod siguro yun. How it must have been for her, I really cannot fathom. But even for me ngayon, just like that, takes me like, whoa. Ben and I discussed that. He's like, it's normal. And he says it like that. And I'm like, really? Like, you have a thought of, I just want to, things will be fine if you're not here anymore. But now, syempre, I'm more like, no, that's not. I know of all people that things won't actually be all right when I'm gone. Because even if things, dati inisip ko, gift ba ni Mama lahat to sa akin, ng Diyos, ganon. Like, I wouldn't have had this if I didn't lose her. But then I think, Ma, if you just waited a little bit longer, I was about to land my commercial. And if I think about it that way, like, what my life would have been like if my mother were around, I would have been better with money. Because she was the one who was good with money. I hated it when I was younger. But now, I wish she was able to teach me how to handle my money better. She had so many gifts she couldn't articulate well. She was very neat and organized, OCD, which, again, I found negative, but apparently there was also a gift in that organization. If I had that. So parang, kaya for me, kung hindi mo sana tinuldukan, no? Ang ganda pa nung may experience. Sana nabigyan kita ng mga gusto mong may experience sa buhay. But, I'll experience it na lang. And now, I'll make sure I experience it with my child. Yeah.
You've turned pain into purpose by being open about your battles. Was there a specific moment when you decided, I'm going to share this, no matter how hard?
I'll touch on a few things from that. Thanks. Maswerte ako. Kasi nung nangyari lahat ito, wala pang social media. So when I entered showbiz, actually that was less than a year after my mom died. So the gift there was that I was allowed to heal from it and not be labeled by it from the public eye. And make, somehow craft my own identity. Was there shame in the beginning? Yes. was there. Fear, of course, in the beginning, yes, a lot. Guilt, a lot. And again, I was spared because I had the power to not talk about it. I say power because now it's almost a privilege. I had the privilege and power to not talk about it. And again, heal at my own pace. However, I wanted to discuss it. I remember 2005, 2006 yata yun. I was doing, I had a cover for Marie Claire. And then I had a one-on-one with a writer. I was discussing this, and she was so kind. Sabi niya, I don't want this to be the story for the cover because I don't want to exploit your mother's story and what you're going through. And that was so kind of her, Mary. Thank you. Because honestly, I wasn't ready pa. I was just spilling it out. Pero I wasn't in the headspace pa. But eventually, I was. Ngayon naman, hindi ko na alam how to talk about it. Because so much time has passed. Parang how? And I always knew that it wasn't going to be in the format of an MMK or, and I love Tito Boy so much. And parang, it wasn't going to be that conversation. It wasn't through that. So, paano ba to? Really didn't know how. And then, of course, we had SheTalks Asia na. And I was going through and body love, ganyan, 2018. Kinasal ako, 2018. And there were write-ups. And then people were saying like, because Sunshine Dizon gave me a bracelet, and that was my mother's. And then people were like, because she lost her mother to cancer. And then, while it's true that I did lose stepmothers, 2 of them, to breast cancer. Yes, I know. To anybody watching this, what, she lost mothers? Yes, I know. That's a different topic, different time. But yes, so gets ko na parang why people would say or think that I lost my mother to cancer. Because I became, parang I was, parang for Avon, parang nag-breast cancer awareness ako. So maybe people thought I was parang warrior for breast cancer awareness because I lost my mother to breast cancer. And I was getting triggered by it. I was getting triggered by the fact na, no, I did not lose my mother to cancer. Parang it just felt like I was ashamed of it. Na parang my mother deserved more. Parang she deserved for me to tell the truth about her. And my gosh, Mary Ann, that was my mother's name. Mary Ann would have wanted people to know. Because she would have spearheaded this whole movement. If this was back in the day, andun siya eh. Nasa forefront siya nito. Binabasa niya lahat ng libro. Kung meron nung mga Get community, andun siya. Leader siya nito. So, parang, and that's partly why I wanted to be part of SheTalks Asia. Like, I think it was something my mother would have wanted to be part of. She would have benefited from it. But anyway, and it was through SheTalks Asia when kasi I was telling them, when we were all aligned, na from body love, the next step is a mental health conference. Because body issues are a mental health issue. So, and then we found that we wanted to have to establish STA conversations. And then Sarah Meyer interviewed me. I felt I was very ready. And it was the perfect time. And I think people were ready to hear this story. And I was ready to tell it with dignity. Not pride, with dignity and sensitivity. I was already coming from the place of the scar, a very well-healed scar, not the wound. It wasn't bleeding anymore. It had healed. It was the perfect time, and it was the perfect platform. So that was a gift.
What is your invisible war?
I believe that my invisible war is the lack of self-love, which I'm working on, which manifests in the constant seeking of validation. Sometimes it's good, you get it from good places, but sometimes you may turn to dark places for that, no? It might take you to dangerous circumstances. It may lead you to that. So it's a work in progress. It's knowing your weaknesses and acknowledging it, and then embracing that it is part of who you are. And then, like anything, it's just building habits that will serve as, I think, it's like building fences around it. Kasi parang to protect yourself. So let's say that I love the word war kasi, because I really feel that every human being grapples with the light and the dark. Diba? That exists in all. And if you think that you do not have any darkness, then look at yourself in the mirror. No, but it's true. Like, ako talaga, and I think a lot of people aren't even aware that there is a battle. And to me, I'd rather be aware and acknowledge that I am battling with some darkness inside me. But what's great is that time and time again, I have seen how the light can take over that darkness. Ang ano niya, no, parang ang cliche na yung ang galing. Let's say fear. What is the most powerful thing that can destroy fear? Love. The opposite ends eh. Negative, positive. It is the constant choosing of the positive of that negative thing, which is easier said than done. Okay. Example. My fear of not wanting to have a child was there all this time. And it was valid. It's a very, very valid fear. But you see, what was the thing that overpowered it? It was love. And yes, it's God's love when He stepped in and gave me my child. And it was the love that I felt when I held Dea in my arms and realized, oh wow, all that fear, I was just operating from fear. And my husband was telling me this, and he always tells me this when he's like, Iza, you're coming from a place of fear. Come from a place of love. Galing ni Ben, no? Galing niya din. I appreciate him. So yes, just allow for the light to fill you. You know, embrace it. Don't embrace the dark. Pero mas madali minsan kasi. So it really takes a lot of work to it's a war. That's why I acknowledge that the war is, and like anything else, don't be complacent. Don't be arrogant. I've learned with all humility, know that there is a war that is constantly going on. Without fear or anxiety, just knowing, para guarded ka. And for me, one of the most powerful tools is the pause. From the reaction, you really have to make it a response. So, parang that's the best way for me to combat the war. I know you didn't ask this, but for me, gratitude and the pause, these are two very effective tools to combat my war, at least. I hope it can be applicable to yours. Just being grateful for all that I have and all that I am now, so that I don't look for other things. And the pause between the event and my response to it, so that it is not subconscious working, which gets me in trouble. And is, it's not helpful to anybody. Again, easier said than done, but that's the war that I grapple with. That's something that I grapple with, and I overcome every day. Sabi niya sa akin.
We always end the interview with gratitude, just what you're
Thank you.
saying. And what are your, first of all, thank you so much, Iza, for being here on Invisible War and sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for this, Met. I mean,
This is for all of us.
Yeah, this is very valuable to so many people who are just looking for love, looking for a safe space, looking for some level of connection, just to know that they are not alone in their war that they're fighting. So thank you.
What are your 3 thankful things?
3 things I'm thankful for are: A, good health. B, family or loved ones. Kasi family can be blood or family that you choose. But most of all, Ben and Dea. Yeah. And yes, Kuya and Zed. And the Calzados and the Windles and the Ushers. Yes, all of us. And my friends. And the last, hirap kasi, 3 lang, di ba? Pero, kasi ang dami. I mean, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this moment, di ba? Really, really, truly. But tying into that, to this, is I'm grateful for I said this, the finding meaning in the mess, the platform, whether it be through being an artista or through interviews or in being part of SheTalks Asia, but just that victory that I'm still here. And being able to tell that story, I think I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iza Calzado.
I live to tell the tale. Thank you. Thank you. It is hard to talk about mental health, but it is harder not to. Ask for help. Again and again, you are not alone. Together, we can win this invisible war. You got this.